What up, guys? This is Chris Johnson, and I'm your host for Through the Lens, and we got your co-host, the voice behind the camera.
Perfect. I want to talk about navigating criticism because not only social media era, everybody's criticizing, we
Uh-huh.
criticize ourselves through other people's life highlight reels. So, what are your views about criticism?
You know, I've been to a bunch of high school games this year, and in the high school games, I'm watching how young players respond to their coach,
Mm.
and their body language tells me everything. And it started me to think about how people receive constructive criticism
Mm-hmm.
based on what they're doing as a performer, right? And it's so many levels to receiving criticism, and it's so many ways to learn how to take criticism. I think it's a skill set, first of all. I think taking criticism is a skill set that requires for you to be open minded
Yeah.
about the mirror that's watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get to that point, I think we need to go back down to when you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
Because how you receive criticism, I think, has to do everything with how you were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Because did they criticize properly? Like, were you constructive criticism versus just breaking somebody down?
Right.
How would you suggest somebody that didn't have a healthy way of being criticized that now they're sensitive?
Yeah. That's a big term though, because in professional sports, you can see people that are very sensitive when someone corrects them.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, you can be programmed. And if you're programmed to be super sensitive to constructive criticism, it takes an effort by the individual
Mm.
to recognize, first of all, I'm a very sensitive person.
Yeah.
And anytime someone speaks about my performance or what I'm doing to give me feedback, I get really defensive. So it starts with the person first, right? Now, once you identify that you're a sensitive person, you have to start working towards not being as sensitive.
Mm. How do you
So,
do that?
what, in my opinion, the first steps is surrounding yourself with a group that you trust.
Mm. Okay.
So, surround yourself with a dream team, somebody you trust, someone that you know is going to tell you the truth, but also they love you.
Yeah.
So I think they got kind of go hand in hand. So that's the first step. The second step is when that person comes to you because you've put them in position to now have your ear. Listen, don't respond.
Mm. Yep. That's Bible.
You have to listen, don't respond.
Yeah.
Then give yourself a period to digest the information that was given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come back and you say, hey, I agree or I disagree.
Yeah.
Because you still have the opportunity to agree or disagree with the individual that's constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Even better example, a coach in the game, he goes to you and say, hey, hold your follow through on your shot, you'll make it. That's criticism. A player can look at it several ways. Man, I did hold my shot. I did hold my follow through on my shot. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But they didn't see themselves. Or they could say, yep, coach, you're right. I'm going to hold it follow through next time. I got it. I'm going to knock that shot down. That's two different perspectives of taking criticism.
Yeah.
I think this is something that is so important. We have to start teaching our youth. We have to start teaching them early to be able to take constructive criticism and be able to get feedback about what they do. It's very important.
And what about, so a key thing you said, dream team, right?
Yep.
So you have your dream team, my dream team, you,
Yep.
Todd.
Yep.
Criticism all day. I take it. I analyze it. I want to better myself. Now, how would you take criticism from somebody that's not on your dream team? What if it's somebody else that maybe I don't respect, maybe that I don't even want to be like, but they're giving me criticism and telling me how to do something? How do you respond then?
So if they're not on the dream team, you can listen with no response.
Mm.
So you have to be able to filter through information from different people. You know, in the game of basketball, you have people yelling from the stands, pass it, attack the rim.
Yeah.
And you got your coach saying, run the offense. This is constructive criticism in a
Yeah.
real high performing situation. When you think of a kid going through these type of things, and then the parent is like, attack, shoot the ball. Hey, why didn't you shoot the ball? It's like, well, I'm supposed to run the. They have to be able to filter through information and then understand that this person is not in my circle.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're wrong, but it don't mean that they're right.
Yeah.
So now you learn how to be able to look someone in the eyes as they're correcting you and say, I got it. I understand it. And then you can go back to what you believe.
Yeah.
And that's creating a belief system for yourself. And this is a skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means you need to get to know yourself.
You have to know yourself. And everyone needs a dream team.
Yeah.
You got to have people that can say, hey, that's not right. Or you're doing an amazing job, but if you adjust 1, 2, and 3, it could take it to the next level.
Yeah.
People don't want feedback because it's like I'm being judged. Like, well, you didn't do it better than me. Or like, what about you? The first time someone goes in and criticizes you, it makes you defensive.
Yeah.
For me being a Leo, really strong, I'm working on myself every day.
Yeah.
So I have chosen people like yourself, like people that are on my dream team, and hey, can you give me feedback, please?
Mm.
Like, tell me what you're thinking. And I allow them to tell me their thought process.
Yeah.
And if I agree, I say, man, I agree. I agree with that really well. Or if I have already done what they're saying, I explain it to them. Say, well, this was a process behind that, and this is how I got to it. And say, oh, and they can agree too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to build a dream team, for somebody who's not used to having a supportive group around them growing up, maybe it's hard to trust people.
Right.
How do you build a dream team in older age or even to high school athletes? Now you're put in a high school, you're given a coach. You don't get to choose
You
your
don't
coach.
get to choose your coach.
How
Well,
do
you
build
can
that?
choose your coach if you're coming into high school and you kind of deciding where you want to go to
Where
high
you
school.
want to go, yeah. You choose what
You
coach
can
you want to
choose what
play.
coach you want to play for.
How do you suggest, like, okay, like now let me build that dream team?
So when you're looking, we're going to take a high school student, athlete, which is student athlete. Just because someone's on your team doesn't mean they're a part of your dream circle.
Mm.
You can have friends outside of the sport that you're competing in that can be a part of that dream team circle. I actually encourage high schoolers to have friends outside of the team that they compete with every day
Yeah.
because you get a different perspective. I always look at it like this. If I was inside the forest, surrounded by nothing but trees, it would be very difficult to find the exit to get out of the forest to
Wow.
be on my way because everything looks the same.
Yeah.
The trees are tall, you got the grass, you have the animals, and now you're trying to figure out, do I go right? Do I go left? Do I turn this way? What's the easiest way for me to get out of this maze? But if you have someone on the outside, they look at it totally different.
Yeah.
And with a different set of eyes, they can give perspective that can allow you to balance out what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, dream teams are built with the friend group, with your parents, with your close relatives like your uncles, your
Yeah.
aunties, sisters, brothers, mentors, people at your church, in your community, barbers. Like, building your team can consist of different people that have shown you that they can be trusted, or they have knowledge
Mm-hmm.
about that subject matter or about life in general. And you can come right to them, and even before they even give you constructive criticism, you can bring it to them and say, break me down, give me feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, the person that learns to take feedback, criticism, they will progress so fast because they would develop what we call tough skin.
Yeah.
They develop this
Mental
like
toughness.
this mental toughness, the mental resilience,
Yeah.
and they can take it and be evaluated and say, wow, well, I'm just going to take one piece
Yeah.
of this and apply it to me. I'm
Yep.
going to take this one piece from them and I'm applying it to me. They start advancing really fast in life because there's nothing that can break them.
Yeah. And what about self criticism?
Oh, it's necessary. But some people become their worst enemy
Yeah.
through self criticizing themselves. Like, bro, I ain't even that good. Like, you've heard that before. I ain't even, like, I suck.
Yeah.
Those are words that are like, "Urgh," like they bring you down. They're not giving you, that confirmation of like who you are.
Yeah.
So when you are self, this is inflicting self, you need to speak to yourself as if you believe in yourself.
Hmm.
You can get in front of the mirror and say, I am, and then complete the sentence.
Yeah.
I am great. I am worthy.
Yeah.
I am a friend. I am a father. I am a brother. I am a husband. I am, and you can just fill in the blank. I am great. I am a genius. And you can start with like these like mantras. Like
Yeah.
you can speak it into existence, and you can like self construct yourself by telling yourself. And then when you're not as great, it balances out
Yeah.
because you easily it's so easy to be negative,
Yep.
and it's very easy to self inflict pain, to say that you're not good enough,
Yeah.
not worthy. The game of life is played in our head. Like, it's all in the brain. Like, when I look at people and I look at these great people and I'm listening to them talk, God saying, man, I am a genius. And we're looking at them like, man, that's kind of conceited.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, you call it, but would you rather for him to say, I'm dumb?
Yeah.
No, I'm not smart. That So you have to choose
To
how
affirm
you see
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's important because if you build that confidence within yourself, now you can receive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you already criticize yourself, now you're at a low point. And
Oh.
let somebody come in and tell you that you did something wrong. Now you're underground.
Well, it's that now. It's like somebody going poop, poop,
Yep.
poop, poop,
When you're
poop.
already down.
It's very hard to function. Anxiety and depression is real.
Yeah.
It's real because it exists within the brain, and that's why I've been so like infatuated with studying mindset and mindfulness and being present and helping individuals and athletes
Yeah.
overcome and and go to the next level of life through this mental fitness.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at constructive criticism, it's only there to make you better. Now, there is criticism that does not make you better. There are people out there. I don't want to overhype it and make it sound like it's just all positive. There's some negative people that are giving criticism, and if you know that they're negative, you already know the answers to the test because they could be giving you good information. It's just not said properly.
Yeah.
So there's negative people
With good
that
information.
with good information.
And so let's talk about now being the one that criticizes somebody. They constructive criticism. Let's say that, like helping somebody fix
Yes,
something.
that's me.
So how do you approach it? Because you've said it before. It's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And you've learned how to speak. You speak to me differently than you
Yeah.
speak to Corey, than you speak to anybody else on the team. Because you know we're all very different and we
Yep.
receive information differently. So what's your advice to that on learning how to speak to your team, how to speak to your players, how to speak to maybe a player speaking to their parent
Yeah.
about like, hey, I don't like this or I prefer this.
It's awareness, right? So like it's like peripheral vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm paying attention to like how you receive information because I want to make sure that we have a line of communication between us that we can share information between. As a person that I'm in a position to give constructive feedback, even when they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I have athletes that I'm going to say things to that people are afraid to say things to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about what I say, it's how I say it.
Yep.
So I can take different approaches to sharing this information. Like, I'll give a great example. I'll take a player, and he's uncomfortable going left and fading.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at me and says, "That's not what I do." And I listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go and put myself in a position as a defender, and I'll say, "Okay, do what you're comfortable doing." And once they get to that place, I knock the ball out their hand. And then they're like, "Okay," I say, "It's not going to be comfortable for you. This is how life is.
Yeah.
But if I could develop this skill set of putting the ball just 1 inch over this way, you will go up 50% making that shot."
Yeah.
And then I show them the data behind making that shot. Then I show them the reward, the pay. If you make this shot, you might be an all-star. You might get the big payday. So I kind of like am a storyteller with constructive criticism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just say, "Man, that shot's broke. You need to fix it." And you don't ever listen. I don't say that. I can see that they're afraid. I can see that there's fear there where anytime you're uncomfortable, is fear
Mm-hmm.
involved. Like you get very like they may see me not be as great as I am.
Yeah. They're gonna see the weakness.
They can see weakness. So I have to navigate and be very careful about offending them in a way,
Yeah.
them in a way that attacks the person. I'm talking to the character. So me being a person that gives constructive criticism all the time, it is a skill set. It's very tactful. Like for people out there that are in position of leadership, you know, you have to be very tactful. You have to be, you got to be like, okay, this is how I get them to perform better.
Yeah.
And you have to really think about it and then think about how you're going to deliver the information. So I could tell you raw and cut and say, "This is not it. This is not good." And you can be like, "What are you talking about?" Or I can say, "Hey, listen, you can get better by doing this. This would take you to the next level. Let me show you." And you say, "Well, I've never done that before." So we need to practice and get the reps in, and you'll become comfortable.
Yeah.
And I build trust with that individual. And that's how I'm able to elevate players, elevate people that I coach one-on-one. I'm able to build that trust factor, get to know them, but still be very honest in giving feedback and constructive criticism to their growth. And me being that type of coach, I want the feedback. Like I
Yeah.
literally want the feedback. The hardest people to get feedback from uh, is the people that are very close to you. Like when
Yeah.
they tell you feedback, you have to be very careful not to go defensive.
Take it personal.
Yeah, you take oh man, I take it so personal, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
So I have to work on this every day. Guys, I appreciate you checking in with us with Through the Lens, me and the voice. I'm your host, Chris Johnson. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you turn on your post notifications. We post this show every Friday. So every Friday, this show is posted. We want you to drop comments. We want to know what you think. We want to know the topics that you want us to talk about. And if you haven't, make sure you go in the description and you follow all of our socials, even the voice. She will be back there and down in the comments. We out. Peace.